Hello, um, good day, and welcome to today's section of the 30 Days of Code Challenge brought to you by CodeFlex. Um, Today, what we will be talking about is really minimal and it's not going to take much of our time. But before I start, I would like to implore us to please like, share, and comment, right? So, today we'll be looking at semantic HTML elements. Like just like every other element, semantic HTML elements are also elements and they don't have any special characteristics or any special thing that makes them different from normal HTML element. They are just normal HTML element. Just have some functionalities that we are going to be talking about in this section, right? What are semantic HTML elements? Semantic HTML elements are elements that have meanings to both developers and browsers. What does that mean? When we say is an HTML element has a meaning to developers, it means that if, for instance, I write a code and for any reason another developer is to see my code, right? You should be able to look at my code and at a glance understand some layout of my code, right? A different developer other than me who wrote the code should be able to look at my code and look at the elements and get meaning from the elements I use to write my code. That's why semantic HTML are described as elements that have meaning to both developers and browser. How does it have meanings to browser? Semantic HTML allow browsers to do so many things with our document, right? So that is not just the function of semantic HTML. Semantic HTML are also useful in SEO, which are search engine optimization, right? So what this means is if you write semantic HTML, if you use semantic HTML, sorry, if you use semantic HTML to write your web app, there is high possibility of your website coming up on search engines whenever people enter search requests, right? So there you have your website have a higher chance of coming up, right? So because it has a higher index, it makes it easy. Your semantic HTML makes it easy for search engines to be able to index your website, right? Then it also have accessibility function. I mentioned two functions. I've talked about having meaning for developers and browsers. I've talked about search engine optimization, and now I'm talking about accessibility, right? It helps people who use assistive technologies like screen readers to be able to navigate your web page with ease, right? So there are lots of HTML elements that are semantic HTML elements. Now, before I would like to quickly say something. Semantic HTML elements are replaceable HTML elements. They have to be replaceable before you can say they are semantic HTML element, right? For instance, you can't call your image element as you can't refer to it as a semantic HTML element in as much as whenever you see in as much as your image element also gives meaning because whoever developer looks at image element, he knows that um, that is an image element, right? But why am I saying it doesn't really fit into semantic HTML in as much as some people will refer to it as semantic HTML because it gives meaning, right? is that you cannot replace an image element, right? There's no way you say um, angle bracket open SDH, right, and give it source and expect it to act as image. There's no way you can put div, open angle bracket, write div and put source and put image part or link and expect it to display image. You cannot replace it. The same thing with videos and media. The same thing with your tags like BR, HR. You cannot replace them, right? So it makes them less of that purpose. But you see core semantic HTML elements, they are very replaceable, very replaceable, right? Whatever I can do with semantic HTML, I can use spans and divs to represent them and they will still function the same way. Just that they are not going to have these functionalities of semantic HTML element. I will have to do extra work to make them function like semantic HTML. Maybe I have to start giving them rules, or I have to start using attributes like area labels and all of that, which is more work instead of me just picking a semantic HTML that do that for me. So there are lots of semantic HTML elements, a lot of them. We have the headers, we have the footers, we have the main, the aside, the article, the sections, table, forms. They are all semantic HTML elements. Whenever you see form element, you know that content inside this place allows users to enter information which are going to be collected for a specific reason. So whenever you see form, you know that, right? Whenever you see, whenever you see header, you know that okay, this is usually the head, the topmost of the website, and it usually contains a logo and it usually contains some links. That's header. Whenever you look at it, you know that this is an header without any much uh, description. Just looking at it. That's why when I just started, I said it gives meaning. That is what I mean by saying it gives meaning to developers. So whenever a developer just look at the code, they look at header, you know that okay, this is the head of this particular uh, page or this particular section or this particular, because the fact that we call it header and the fact that we know that main headers are usually at the top of the page, I could have a section and my section will still have header. So that takes us to the fact that semantic HTML are also nestable, right? We can nest semantic HTML inside semantic HTML, like I just said. My main element, I can put header. My main element can have header, right? My section element, which is a semantic HTML element, can have header. I can put article inside section. I can have section inside article. So they are nestable. That's what I mean when I say they are nestable, right? So like I said, semantic HTML should be able to give developers meaning. It should be able to give assistive technologies. They should be able to give them description. They should be able to allow or make it easy for search engine to be able to index our web app. So if for instance we have something like this, if I want to create a layout now, I have to really dive into CSS, right? I really don't want to do anything about CSS until we get to CSS, right? So what can I do now? Okay, let me just check out W3 School, right? Like I said, I will always say that there's nothing wrong with you going back to documentation, right? There's nothing wrong. Senior developers still check documentation. It doesn't make you less of a coder. I keep saying that it doesn't. So let's look at semantic HTML. I think we should have some. Okay. This is semantic HTML. Yeah, this is what I wanted to, if I want to make this layout now, I have to really dive into CSS, which I don't want to do. Now, if you look at, oh, sorry, I zoomed off. If you look at this in this place, this particular diagram, you will see that this is header, this is nav, this is section, this is aside, this is article, this is footer. All right. The header is just telling you that this is the head of this particular page or this particular section or wherever. The navigation usually contains important links. You have links, you can have links everywhere in your website, but not all of them are usually inside navigation. I can have links in my footer as well, but I cannot put them in navigation. I can't put them in nav, sorry, inside my footer because links that are in footer are less of importance compared to links that are in header, right? So the links that are in header are usually very important links. That's why you put them up there so that immediately people come to your website. Nobody comes into a website scrolling from bottom to top, right? They usually start from top and go down. So when they enter your website, they will see the header first, right? So they will be able to see your navigation, your link, your important link there. That's why you put them inside navigation. Then you have section which contain related information, right? Related elements. That's why you can have a lot of elements inside semantic HTML elements, right? This is a section. My section can have H2, it can have article, it can have divs, it can have span, it can have p tags, it can have a lot of things that are related, right? Then you also have a side that usually act as sidebars telling you that okay, this particular content is taken out of the main content, right? Just like you have sidebars, they also contain and they also can contain links, but it's more like this what is inside this side aside is not um is related to the whole page, but it's kind of different from what is in the main content of the page, right? So you put them aside, you put them in sidebar. So that is the what aside function for. Then you also have main. The main, although main is not here, you also have main, which is usually the main content of your web app. Then you have footer, where you can also have link, have your copyright, your links to social media, and all of that, right? Now, if you look at the left hand side, you see that there are lots of semantic HTML elements listed here aside uh, article, aside the TIFF, caption, figure, footer, header, main, mark, nav, section, summary, time. They are all semantic HTML elements, right? Although I was saying at the beginning that semantic HTML mostly should be able to be something that are replaceable, right? There are some that you will replace and they will not function the way they will function. Look at summary and what does summary work with the details, right? They just add like something like what's it called? Like a drop down that you can toggle, just like what you see in what part of the web page, frequent FAQ, right? Frequently asked questions, where you see the question, you can click on it to expound a summarized explanation, and when you click on it again, it closes just like that. You can toggle it open and close. That's what details and summary function, right? Then what is like I said, is really there's nothing really special about semantic HTML. It's just what is important for you to know is what they are used for. And I always advise people that use semantic HTML whenever you have an opportunity to use them. Whenever you have an opportunity to use semantic HTML, make sure you use semantic HTML element, right? Um, don't forget to like and share. Don't be selfish with this. Like and share so that more people can benefit from what is happening here, what is being hosted by CodeFlex. Okay. If I say, for instance, want to, uh, if I want to really do anything, I will have to really dive into CSS. And I think CSS is starting. Okay, this is day 5, day 6 start CSS. So, yeah, the restriction is going to be over very soon because I'm really restricted. I'm really restricted from doing so many things because I will have to, always ask style to make it look really to be able to express what I am explaining, but HTML does not allow me to do all that. So with that, we have come to the end of today's section. Thank you for being here today, and thank you, CodeFlex, for making this a reality. See you in the next section.